understand. This guy doesn't want any dignity. No dignity for Jay Reese. And you're in luck. We're running a special promo this month. Every custom love doll you buy, we throw in a free doll of your mother. Bring out the mom on the Reese job. It's Eudora Reese.
Hey guys, so before the video starts, I just wanted to make sure you guys knew that my mic was having some issues while recording this apparently. It's not too big of a deal. You should barely notice it, but there are like a few bits here and there where there's like a scratch or like a little kind of peak. I made it so the audio can never go above -6 decibels, so it should never hurt your ears, but I find it very annoying, so I just wanted to point it out here just to let you know, more so like, dude, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about it. I don't want to record the whole thing again and probably still run into the issue. I don't know what to do. If anyone has any solutions, I have an FF Fine mic with like an XLR thing and everything. Like, I have a really fancy microphone, but anyway, please enjoy the rest of the video. I love you. Thanks for watching. There are a lot of disturbing cartoons. There's violent ones, there's gross ones, there's the loud 3 a.m. Adult Swim fever dreams. But every once in a while, there's a show that doesn't just try to shock you. It just makes you uncomfortable. Not because it's screaming, not because it's gory, because it feels personal. And I genuinely think The Shivering Truth is one of the most uncomfortable cartoons ever made. Maybe the most. Not the scariest, not the grossest, just the most uncomfortable. Because this show doesn't feel like you're watching something weird. It feels like something weird is watching you. Everything about it is just slightly off. The faces are almost human. The voices are calm and reassuring. And the stories feel like bedtime fables. But underneath that softness is humiliation, shame, insecurity, and yes, a lot of gore and screaming and weird, disgusting images, of course. And the fear of not being enough. But the worst part, it doesn't feel random somehow. Even though if you take a step back, it definitely is. It's not absurdism for the sake of chaos. It's surgical. It's precise. And it understands something deeply uncomfortable about being a person. So today we're gonna be talking about The Shivering Truth, an Adult Swim cartoon created by Vernman Chatman, I mean. Why did I get his name wrong? It's right there in front of me. We're gonna break down the cartoon, why this show feels so wrong, why it sticks in your head, and why I think it's Adult Swim's most psychologically violent cartoon ever created. And if you end up enjoying the video, please consider liking and subscribing. I cover a lot of Adult Swim shows on this channel, so make sure to go check those out. I've covered Vernon Chatman's other two shows, Wonder Shojin and 12-Ounce Mouse. So that's not a show. 12-Ounce Mouse isn't a show. I covered that too, but I mean Xavier Renegade Angel, that one. Already blowing this. You know what? I'm keeping it in the video. I'm keeping it in.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so right. Oh, I'm so right.
But what the hell even is this? The Shivering Truth is a stop-motion anthology Adult Swim cartoon, narrated and executively produced by Vernon Chatman, the creator of Xavier Renegade Angel and Wonder Shojin, as well as Off the Air, and I forget the other show. This guy's made some weird crap. A typical episode goes like this. We open up, of course, with the narrator talking as if he had been talking. Like, for example, the first word of the first sentence is therefore, or and because.
And yet, at Shivering Middle School, not to mention the fact that lies attract bunnies. Therefore, Kali Glontal spent life wondering if she was invisible.
He's talking like he was already talking to you before. I find that hilarious. And every episode is a series of maybe 1 to 4 different plot lines that are all looped together somehow by the narrator. And he's just constantly going. We're just zooming through this 11-minute episode of just nonsense happening on screen, and somehow it's coherent. I don't know how. It's almost a nightmarish logic chain. I think they described it as a riotous daymare. Not a nightmare, a daymare. And I should have put this in the intro. Hopefully I didn't put any on screen yet. There is gore, which I will make black and white just because obviously YouTube doesn't like that. It looks realistic enough, as well as very gross scenes, specifically stuff that might trigger, what is it called? Trapophobia or a hole. I don't, the thing where it's like, oh, there's like holes. I don't think there's any holes, but like, you know, like weird skin formations. Like, for example, there's this one scene where this guy gets twin tower pox or whatever. He's got a bunch of, you know, 9/11s on his face as zits, and that it looks disgusting. It makes me feel a little weird. I don't even think I have the symptom or whatever that would, you know, make you feel uncomfortable. Just know there's gonna be really gross imagery probably in the B-roll sometimes, as well as you actually, if you go and try to watch this show afterwards, good luck with that. There's only 12 episodes and they're each like 11 minutes, so it's really not a hard watch to get through the whole series. Unfortunately, I wish there was a third season. This show is really, really weird. Didn't understand a goddamn thing watching it the first time, but it definitely held my interest. Watching it with friends too at like 2 o'clock in the morning is probably the best experience you're gonna get watching this. Anyways, why does this show feel so wrong? As well as I'm gonna go through some maybe episodes to try to explain it a little bit. The faces are almost human. They've got the uncanny valley feeling to them, which is pretty typical with claymation, to be honest. Smiles are too wide, the eyes are empty a lot of the times. The lighting is soft, but just wrong, just off a little bit. The music is very comforting while someone's getting mauled to death. Everything is shown to be calm while the most batshit insane thing is happening on screen, including the narrator. He's explaining situations that are happening to these characters as if they're a good thing, and it's like they're losing their hands, their arms are being chopped off, they're blowing up, they're literally getting erased from existence. There was one scene where they're prayer jacking. People are jacking each other's prayers. So like if someone believes in God and they're praying, the prayers actually work. They keep ordering sandwiches. A guy comes up, puts a knife to them, so they order their sandwich, and then since that happened, they became a believer, so now someone else jacked their prayer. It's ridiculous, and it's just like calm music. Vernon Chapman's just like, yes, it's completely normal. Everything on screen is perfectly fine. But it's not nonsense. I'm telling you right now, it's not complete nonsense. There is actually meaning to all this. A lot of the themes in this show, and I'll go over some episodes in a minute. Hopefully I remember to do that, because I'm going to do that after recording. I'll go into my little editing software and I'll use the microphone there and talk over while I put the B-roll. It's gonna look great, guys. It's gonna look great. But a lot of these episodes have shame, desire, and punishment for those two things. Characters try to be better and they end up getting punished or almost literally destroyed for trying to be better. Or the opposite happens and they still get destroyed or rewarded. People reshaping themselves for approval. Literally, a woman eats celery because the celery burns more calories than it gives you. So then she becomes a black hole. And also, this story is tied into this guy who's voiced by Rex Splode.
My girl wouldn't not exist. She bees. Tell him you be, boo. Boo? Boo?
Freaking hilarious. Who's paranoid about these knives coming. He's paranoid about everything, but then he starts dating this car, and the car turns out to be the Void character woman from the beginning. It all makes sense, I promise you. It's all about self-acceptance or something. Identities literally melting away. Husbands trying to improve, even though the guy's dying every 3 seconds, and he has to wait a whole year to change back into his normal face to talk to his wife for 3 seconds, but then they get a divorce. It isn't random, it's recursive. Whatever the hell that means. It's showing you the horror of self-improvement. It touches on subjects like productivity culture. God, I said that word weird. Masculine insecurity, marriage anxiety, wanting to be enough, wanting to be loved. Every time someone tries to fix themselves or make themselves feel better on this show, they end up becoming less human. Hell, someone creates a Frankenstein monster out of butterflies because the butterflies are trying to kill an island of people who use the butterfly tears as like spices, but then it falls in love with a woman who ends up turning out to be another Frankenstein monster made of bees, and the butterflies and the bees learn to love each other and let go, and then that's the end of the episode or something. I don't know. It's ridiculous. It's all right. Let me just go through a couple episodes since I keep doing it already. Remember to do it now. Dacosity, this is an editor's note. I just hit my mic. I hope I didn't screw up the sound. All right, episode synopsises of a few of my favorite episodes. Go. We're doing it right now. All right, so the very first episode, the pilot, starts off with this poor little blind girl constantly being hit in the back by a bunch of schoolboys, right? The principal is making them do this because someone snapped her bra. So in order to figure out who done it, they have to make every single boy do it, right? And she'll figure it out by the feel of it, which creates a giant welt on her back. And then the lunch lady corrects this by turning it into slices of meat. And the blind girl figures out, oh my god, it was the lunch lady all along. And that's how you get the picture that was on the thumbnail. That was just the cold open, by the way. This has nothing to do with the rest of the video, really. The episode truly starts off with Delmer Gibbons. He's walking up this cliff. He's trying to set up a suicide hotline. But unfortunately, it's a very competitive market, so he ends up going freelance. He's like leaving little notes on the, big poles and stuff with little snippets that they could get for the phone number. And he waits around. He finally actually gets a call from this dude who tells him this massive story about how he's been trying to off himself. He feels very sad. He went into his oven, he turned on the gas, but he ends up finding $92 million worth of gold, which he then uses to buy a diamond-studded noose, the best in the business, all right? He's going all out for the self-delete. But when he does it, because it was filled with diamonds and all this heavy, very expensive material, it ends up pulling the roof down, saving 2 kidnapped girls, who then end up giving him a concoction of 100 of the deadliest poisons because he asked them to, because obviously he saved their life, right? And those poisons end up becoming a miracle drug, and doctors use that to cure cancer. After that, he then tries to jump off a building, which he ends up landing on safely, of course, on the guy who had escaped from prison, the guy who had kidnapped these girls in the first place because he was trying to go kill the government. The government. No one in particular, literally just the government. And the government ends up calling him after this, asking him to keep trying to off himself because it keeps doing wonderfully good things for everyone, everywhere, all the time. So Dimple Bottom, or whatever the hell his name was, I forget, ends up telling him, this isn't a don't suicide hotline. This is a hotline, right? You're supposed to actually want to do it. How am I supposed to help you here? So that makes the guy really depressed, which ends up making him want to off himself again. So now he can finally do his job. He's very excited about this, a little too overexcited for some reason. And he ends up telling him this story about this guy who was writing a suicide note, right? And he ends up, the note becomes so popular that the world is watching. It's getting tons of reviews. It's like a best-selling book waiting to happen, right? He's not even done writing it. Everyone's very eager, very excited. It's like a movie that never comes out, a game that never comes out, that everyone wants to play, right? The man ends up growing very old writing this, and he finally finishes it. He finally gets ready to actually off himself, but he has to check the reviews, right? The world loves it, but they're really upset that he didn't actually go through with it. So they end up almost, offing him, putting their willies in his mouth, whatever, but they end up just not caring. And then the moral of the story is that no one actually cares. No one actually cares. That's a great thing to tell somebody that's about to off themselves. Thank you, Dimple Bottom, or whatever the hell your name is. So after this encounter, the hotline becomes a massive success, but unfortunately, he never actually was able to figure out how to monetize this endeavor, this little business. And for some reason, we start talking about butterflies after this, and how they're engaged in this war with Bosnians who have been using them to their skulls for spices, their tears for drinks and stuff, and how they torture them with music and zapping their genitals to get this out of them, and how it's been a 100-year war or whatever between the Bosnians and the ancient butterflies, and that's why Bosnia always gets these hurricanes, because the butterflies cause them. It's really ridiculous. So the scientist that was researching this figures out how to manipulate the butterflies into doing his bidding, essentially. Basically granting wishes. But the butterflies did this on purpose, right? He gets addicted to this power, and they eventually just cut him off. They then get him to create a Frankenstein monster, right? He digs up a bunch of corpses and stuff, and he shoves the butterflies into said corpse, where now they can infiltrate Bosnia and try to destroy it from the inside, essentially. But while doing that, the corpse of butterflies falls in love with this Bosnian woman, and they forget their goal of destroying Bosnia. While the scientist basically destroys himself because he no longer has the power of the butterflies. The butterflies and woman end up growing old together, but the woman reveals her darkest secret. She was actually a corpse filled with bees all along, and the bees and butterflies learn a valuable lesson and create a giant heart in the sky, and that's the end of the episode. That's the lesson we learned. That was the pilot. That was the very first episode that you get to see of this wonderful show. My God.
All hail the magic conch!
So this episode starts off with a cold open of a 911 call where the caller is calling in because his wife is seeing another man, and he's just explaining how they're finding little things about each other that they relate to and stuff, and the 911 operator is just like walking him through this and how to manipulate his wife into getting back with him in the weirdest, meanest way possible, and that's it. So after that, we get to the actual episode, which is going to basically entirely take place within this classroom. And it's this boy, Paulie, he's show and telling this conch to the class, and you can hear the ocean from it. But sometimes some conches let you hear a little bit too much. And he ends up hearing his father and his mistress talking about how, they're never gonna find out, the wife and kid, and how he loves his wife, but he hates his kid, Paulie. Everyone's always talking about how much they hate Paulie. It's screwed up throughout this entire episode. And the husband threatens the mistress with a gun. He ends up shooting her, calling into a 911 call. He's telling the 911 call operator that he's like, man, this is a woman I would never, ever be with. I've never seen this woman in my life. And somehow starts shitting on his son again.
See, well, she's not the kind of woman that I would be attracted to, just not my type. Besides, I'm married. I got a kid, too, but that wouldn't be a deal breaker, because he's such a chode.
The 911 operator starts agreeing with him that his son sounds like a real piece of work, a real piece of shit. And the whole class can hear this, by the way, as well as Polly. The mistress takes the father's gun, she's somehow still alive, and shoots him. A bunch of blood comes through the conch, and the 911 call ends. We then hear this 911 call from the same operator, but it's between her and an old lady. The old lady's being very nice, basically asking the operator about her day, all the while she's being eaten by cats. And one of the cats actually comes through the conch. The teacher rips the cat open, gets diamonds, go outside, immediately gets hit by a car. The narrator's even shocked by this.
Now that he was rich, he was free to live life to the fullest possible.
And we then hear the 911 call between the operator and the guy who just got hit by a car, but he's trying to get help, and he gets sent to the special rich person line for 911, and they take so long that he just dies. It's that happens. He gets eaten by wolves, and one of the wolves comes upstairs to the classroom and ends up attacking Paulie. But before Paulie's even actually attacked by the wolf, the conch strikes, right? He let his guard down to the real enemy, and the conch bites him, giving him this sense of awareness that no other human has. And he starts hitting a pen. He figures out that the conch is stealing away all the sounds of the ocean, and he ends up pointing a gun at the ocean that he got from the inside of the wolf. And he's, for the rest of eternity, he is now pointing a gun at the ocean to keep it away from us. He's protecting everyone or something. I don't know. That's the lesson. Always point a gun at the ocean or something. I really like this episode because they somehow managed to make so much shit happen in one classroom. Normally all these other stories take place in several different locations with several different characters. This is literally, you're hearing an entire 11-minute episode through voices. It's not even actually shown on screen most of the time. It's just a story being told through the conch to Polly, and it's my favorite episode. It's fucking hilarious.
Oh yeah, honey, can I make you an egg salad sandwich, baby? Gotta put some meat on your bones. Oh, God, when are you gonna give me some grandchildren?
So I bet you're wondering what the cold open of this very YouTube video was, right? You know, like what's the deal with the mom sex doll thing? I'll tell you right now. I'll tell you that whole episode right now. So, we get a cold open with this dude who is confessing in church because he was recently around a car accident where he was enveloped with a strength to do 900 push-ups. That's right. He saw the car accident. There was a kid under the car. You know, situations are dire, so he got down on the cement and did 900 push-ups. And for some reason, the priest thought that he was the new Christ because of this, and everyone, all the you know, the sick and crippled came to him, got really muscular. Everyone's in heaven very ripped now, and they have like penis arms. It's crazy, absolutely insane. We then cut to this factory working old lady who is, you know, just listening to this blonde woman who's a very mean girl. She won't shut the hell up. She keeps yapping about nonsense while this poor old lady's working in this like sweatshop, and she can't take it anymore. She finally just makes this woman stop talking somehow, and then eventually steals her body. I don't know. This one was very strange. I don't understand it. It then cuts to Jay Reese, our main character of this story. His heart is very dead. That's why there's a bunch of corpse worms trying to get into his heart. So he zips up his shirt. He's ready for a date, but the date ends up being with a sex doll that he made of this girl who he had a crush on in high school or something. And the dude's very just demeaning and insulting about it. The guy selling the sex dolls, he's like, Jay Reese, no dignity? You don't want any dignity with that? And he throws him a free sex doll of his mom. Obviously, Jay Reese doesn't want this, but the mom does. Like, the doll has a mind of its own. It has free will, so it goes with them anyway. The sex doll of the mom still makes, like, sex doll noises, so it's really strange. And it ends up giving birth to a bunch of mini versions of herself. And his dad finally comes over. By the way, before the dad comes over, the mom tries to visit his son, but he's so embarrassed he just ghosts his mom for the rest of his life to live with this fake version of her. It's very disgusting and like screwed up. It's just really screwed up. But his dad comes over. He's like an exterminator for these mini-me's, right? But they end up just killing him, and eventually the sex doll is about to perish. So Jay Reese climbs inside of her mouth and says some really interesting things about that.
You're so tight.
But then he ends up going into the woman from the beginning who stole the other woman's body. Now he stole her body, and he sees the girl he liked as a waitress. Her eyes are just like the sex dolls, which is really funny. And he ends up taking her into the desert, always flying. They're never touching the ground again. And the worms that were in his chest are really upset about that. Like, you know, they want to get back with him, but they can't. And then the episode ends after that. That was the end of the episode. This is the best explanation you're gonna get. All right, the show is incredibly fucked up. All right. Vernon Chapman is almost the real villain of the entirety of the Shivering Truth, which is crazy because the literal devil is in one of the episodes. His voice is very wise. It sounds wise anyway. It's very gentle, sounds very moral, almost as if he's telling a fable, like I said before. But he's reframing this horrible, inhuman, Lovecraftian horror-like suffering as growth. As if a lot of this is good for the characters that's happening, or justified. Like this poor kid Paulie just getting absolutely bullied by everyone in his life. That's by far my favorite episode. I can't wait to talk about that. I probably already did. Let me know in the comments if I talked about it already. Don't do that in the comments. You know what? Actually, call the action right now. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, if you've heard of the Shivering Truth, please let me know in the comments. I know this is a bit more niche than usual. And if you haven't seen it, just let me know some weird moments, either from the show if you did, or from other Adult Swim cartoons that you just let me know about it, all right? I might have a good video idea if I get enough people talking about that. Just weird Adult Swim insanity. Anyways, yeah, the narrator, he's justifying humiliation. He makes the pain that these poor characters are going through sound like necessary. He's not guiding you, he's gaslighting you. This show is like Xavier Renegade Angel in a sense. I mean, it's narrated by the same person, basically. Xavier wasn't the narrator, but he was the narrator. Actually, would narrate a few times during that show. But Xavier Renegade Angel was more kind of loud absurdism. There was definitely some meaning behind it, and there were jokes literally every 2 seconds. The amount of funny stuff crammed into these, like, the dialogue alone in that show, insane. And this is very similar in that regard, but this is, it's Shivering Truth is less chaotic, although at a surface level, it definitely looks chaotic. It's more deliberate, despite being an anthology and not having any main characters whatsoever outside of whatever the main character is in the episode, which changes freaking every 3 minutes for some of them because we're going from story to story and somehow they're all connected at the end all the time. It just makes you uncomfortable. Xavier Renegade Angel made me laugh and go like, oh my god, this is crazy. Shivering Truth, I didn't really laugh that much. I laughed at how absolutely insane it was, or just how uncomfortable I was. But it's definitely a very unique kind of cartoon in comparison to the other stuff Vernon Chapman has made, which is crazy because they're all out there. They're all pretty unique, everything this guy touches. But this might be Adult Swim's smartest show. This show weirdly understands tone, it understands pacing, discomfort, insecurity. This isn't a show about monsters. It's a show about being one. The Shivering Truth doesn't scream at you. It whispers to you. And the worst part is, it sounds like your own voice. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, my name is Dakosity. Thank you so much for watching this YouTube video. I love you so much. Please consider hitting the hype button, the like button, the subscribe button, all the buttons. We recently hit 3,000 subscribers, and I hope we hit 300,000 subscribers at some point. That would be awesome. I like making money. I definitely need it. I just moved to Florida. It's very sunny here. I like playing basketball. I dunked on someone the other day. It was very awesome. Covering the show was definitely a wild ride. Coming up with like a way to even talk about it was even harder, but I'm glad I did. I'm glad I went back and actually watched the Shivering Truth. I remember seeing commercials and maybe a few shorts even actually on my YouTube a few years ago about it, or just like on Adult Swim somewhere. I remember seeing the show somewhere. I think it was just ads though on Adult Swim, but I never sat down and watched the whole thing through, and I'm glad I did because this was an enjoyable experience to say the least, despite it it's like a weird fun version of uncomfortable, to be honest. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you enjoy a lot of my videos. I hope I continue to entertain you for years to come. I'll see you in the next one.